China has confirmed that it has reached an agreement with India to end the standoff between the armies of both the countries in Eastern Ladakh. Beijing has said that a resolution has been reached on relevant matters, and they will work with New Delhi to implement these resolutions. So this is the latest that is coming in, big news between the two countries. We have with us my colleague Mehendi Garg joining us on the telecast. Mehendi, now Beijing has also China has confirmed that there is an agreement with India, and there's a certain level of trust being built now. What are the details that are coming in once that Beijing has also said that we have reached to some resolutions?
Ria, big developments are coming regarding the LAC standoff because, China has confirmed reaching an agreement with India to end the standoff between the two countries' armies in the Eastern Ladakh region. And this statement came from the foreign minister's spokesperson of China, Lin Jian, who addressed the briefing and mentioned that how China and India have been in close communication through diplomatic and military channels on issues related to the China-India border. And now the two sides have reached a resolution on the relevant matters, which China speaks highly of. And also, without providing further details, he said that going forward, China and India will work together to implement these solutions. And also, Lin Jian mentioned that how, updates regarding Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping's meeting on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in Russia will be provided if it comes up. And also, notably, India has announced that an agreement to resolve the conflict over border patrolling along the line of actual control in the India-China border region had been reached. And also, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has also mentioned that as a result of the discussions that have taken place over the last several weeks, the agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border area, and that is leading to disengagement and also eventually a resolution of the issues that had arisen in these areas in 2020. And also the Foreign Ministry of India has added that this development might also lead to an disengagement at the border. And meanwhile, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that Indian and Chinese soldiers will be able to resume patrolling in the way they had been doing before the border face-off began, and also the disengagement process with China has been completed. And Ria, it has been understood also that the agreement pertains to the patrolling in Depsang and Demchok areas. And lastly, the ties between the two neighbors have been strained since the fierce Galwan Valley clashes that took place in 2020 along the Eastern Ladakh border, leading to the death of 20 Indian soldiers and an undisclosed number of Chinese soldiers. India was repeatedly maintained that its relations with China cannot normalize unless peace is achieved in the border areas. And now the standoff, the agreement with India to end the LAC standoff has been confirmed by the China.
All right, Mehendi. All right. We also have with us Ambassador Suresh Goyal. He's a former diplomat joining us on the telecast. Thank you so much for joining us on the telecast, Ambassador Suresh Goyal. I'd like to pose this question, is that earlier we've seen that General Upendra Dwivedi, he stated that they want to go back to the 2020 status, that the April 2020 status, and now China has also responded and has confirmed that there is an agreement that they have reached with India to end border standoff in Ladakh, especially Eastern Ladakh that you're talking about, and this comes just after that they're talking about that there's some resolution that has been reached. This comes just after India and China, there's a breakthrough agreement for patrolling along the line of actual control. So what does this mean for the relations that as the relations were strained? What does this mean for the relations now moving forward for India and China, that discussions would be more positive in terms of border related issues?
Thank you very much. Good question. First of all, as we always say, the devil lies in detail. We do not have the details of the agreement so far, but it is important that both India and China have agreed to something in relation to patrolling along the line of control, which will resolve the issue which has been really bettering our relationship for the last 4 years. So it is important agreement, it's an important understanding, whether agreement, understanding, whatever it is, because it will resolve a long festering issue between India and China, in number one. Number two, I think we need to remember that India and China are the two major economies, not just in Asia but globally. Second and the fifth largest economy, technologically advanced, developing faster, and the geopolitical security of the world depends upon the relations between the two countries. We have to remember that, whether it is in Asia or anywhere else in the world, or it is in Indo-Pacific, it's an important relationship. Number three, again, the most important part is we observed 4 years ago and even earlier that agreement or understanding are one thing. Implementation of those agreements and understandings on ground is another. Sometimes it does happen, it's not just India and China, but any other two countries or multiple number of countries, that the understanding of the agreement in the minds of the two entities could be different. It is important that both countries have the same understanding of what has been arrived at.
Ambassador Suresh Goyal, I'd also like to ask that amid all of this, this comes just during the 16th BRICS summit that is set to take place, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also arrived in Russia for the 16th BRICS summit. So, there's no official confirmation that has been made so far, but all eyes are on the bilateral meeting between Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the sidelines of the summit. So, is there these developments that are taking place so far between India and China? Is there a possibility of the bilateral happening between the two countries?
While nobody can say with any definiteness whether they will meet or not, all I could say is that it is very likely that the two will meet. The BRICS Plus is not a very large forum. There are just a few countries who are actually, for whom the bilateral relationship is also very important. And therefore, I do think that both Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi are likely to meet. But let us wait and see what happens.
Ambassador Suresh Goyal, I also like to ask that when it comes to India and China and their strained relationship so far, when it comes to patrolling across and the border related areas, now since there's a certain level of positive outlook on that, there's been discussions going on, and so what do you think that the key areas, what do they pose importance, and what does that mean for Eastern Ladakh now that a certain resolution has been reached and an agreement has been reached, and China has now confirmed also? What could that mean for the situation on the ground?
See, all these areas which we were patrolling are important from the security point of view for India and for China both, and that's the reason China is also advancing and deploying its troops rapidly in the areas which it had actually occupied in Galwan and also in Arunachal Pradesh and in the eastern northeast of India. So it's an important area. Now, what you are asking is something which nobody will be able to say with any great degree of certainty as to where it is going to lead to. But the fact is that if we are allowed to patrol that area, we will at least know, and we will be able to basically ensure our own security in the area. Last thing that I would say on this is really that in all such understandings and agreements, and I said before, the implementation is the key. And the implementation will depend upon the trust between the two countries. So I do hope that China and India will maintain trust in what we have agreed to. And there is a saying in diplomacy's language, trust but verify. So we will need to have sufficient verification mechanism to know that Each one is doing what they
All
have to
right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.